Hello and welcome to the Bro to Pro podcast featuring your host, Javier.
Hi guys, welcome to the Bro to Pro podcast, and today we have our own Singapore IVV Pro, Yasing, and a primary host
Hi.
Lab SG athlete Ray.
Hello.
Guys, so how have you guys been doing your circuit breaker?
We're doing okay during the circuit breaker. It's more of just not only just getting the day-to-day meals in, we're also just checking in with a lot of our clients, making sure that everything is accountable, a little bit of work here and there, but
It's
mostly
nice.
it's just keeping sane, staying healthy, staying safe.
Okay,
Yep,
do you guys
usual
like?
stuff.
I've seen people like go out and buy like an entire squat rack just specifically for this period. Do you guys do that?
No.
Actually, we didn't. We only ordered like a very small convertible barbell to dumbbell thing. So it's kind of like I think the maximum weight is 30 kg.
Yeah.
And most of the time we're just doing like body weight stuff in the morning at 9 a.m. with some of our friends and clients. So I mean just to engage them and keep them sane from the CB because everyone's just working from home.
Yeah, true.
Hmm.
All very stuck up at home. I think that's good enough also. Yeah. Plus, wow, a lot of people just go out and they don't realize that our gyms are gonna be open in a few months time and they just buy an entire setup. So like a bit,
Yeah, I mean what are you gonna do with the equipment after that?
yeah.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of people do not understand the difference of, you cannot replicate the specifics of training in the gym
Hmm,
versus what you have at home. What you have at home is just something just to kind of like take you through this circuit breaker, this lockdown period, but it will never mimic or give you the full, the access that you actually have to
Yeah.
a gym. Like you're not gonna buy, nobody's gonna buy a Smith machine,
that's
that
true.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people are keen to know like what can we supplement during the CB period? Like what do you guys personally supplement in this CB period?
Um, I feel that the most important part that people need to take care of is actually more of their meal plans, their diet, and that in turn will take care of their health. Because
Mm,
if you take care of that, the training can come into play at the later stage of it. Because no matter how much you try to maximize the stimulus during this period, it is not going to happen.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's true.
that is basically how I feel about it. But I'm sure there are other people who have their own thoughts about it.
Yeah, I mean honestly, if you're at home, you should have more time to cook your meals. So I think supplementation, like if you're talking about like protein powders and all that, is more like convenience. So like if we're at work, we actually use protein powders more. But then if we're at home, we actually have time to cook like chicken, fish, or maybe a nice steak. So our
Mm.
Mhm.
supplements have actually gone down a little bit.
In fact, I think cooking together like with your partner, like there's a bond as well, right? Like cooking can be
I
active.
mean, we cook. We've always been cooking
Yeah,
together. It doesn't really
Ah,
change
I guess
anything.
like it does it, but what you say actually makes a very good point because like this has been going on since like day one, since we competed back in 2014. So we have always been meal prepping. We've always been doing the essential stuff
Mm-hmm.
together. But I guess that the main part of it is that we know who is stronger at what, and so we categorize our duties kind of that way. So like someone who's better at cooking the meats will do the meats, and then if let's say I'm good at doing the dishes, I do the dishes, stuff like that.
it's like Gordon Ramsay, he has his line of chefs do a specific station at each
Yes,
part.
correct.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, nice, nice. So now we're more caught up with each other. So let's go into why people are here. So when you guys were like bros or like at the beginning. So who were you guys and what type of people were you? Let's start with Ray.
I started off as more of a rugby player. So I grew up in Canada, Toronto. I was playing a lot of rugby, a lot of football. And then I kind of came back. I had to do my national service. So I came back when I was 18. I had to do my national service here. And then after I done that, I went on to Japan to do some of my own work. So just trying to figure out my life, basically, that was back then. And that's when I actually started lifting all the way back during my rugby days. And then when we came back, just doing a lot of like powerlifting stuff, more of that, more towards that. So that's where I actually started.
Also, you were more into powerlifting at first.
It was kind of like what I thought was powerlifting, but it was actually more of like strength and conditioning,
Uh,
what that kind of stuff. So
mm,
not exactly the powerlifting.
I think back then we also saw like as long as it's weightlifting, it's just like lifting weights. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Back then when
you
we started.
basically it was just like
lifting something
exactly.
heavy.
I was
Yeah.
just moving one weight from point A to point B, and I thought that's powerlifting.
Yeah.
That's where it all started.
How about how did you like? What made you that trigger to make you go to the gym? You know.
So basically, it all started because it was in rugby. So when you play rugby, there is a strength and conditioning part of the training. So yeah, we do a lot of that. So like the usual stuff, bench press, the hypertrophy stuff actually, but it wasn't exactly hypertrophy. So kind of mixed it up because like you as a rugby, so I was playing a hook, so I needed to be strong. So I had to do a lot of the strength components, but at the same time, you aesthetically want to look well. So that was where it all started.
So it was for the sport itself.
Yes, it
That's
was more for the sport itself.
but what made you transition from the sport itself to officially being like you want to be a bodybuilder?
That started actually only after I met Jia.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. So that was how it all started. So when I got back here, then we finally how I met Jia. I guess we'll get into a later part of that podcast. So that's where actually started the journey. So it's kind of more of us doing it.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Since your reason for starting bodybuilding is Jia, so let's go to Jia. So who were you and what type of person were you before being a figure bodybuilder?
Actually, when I was in school, I used to be very sporty. Like I
Okay.
would do anything. Like I'm one of those girls. It's like I'm adventurous and I love outdoors. So it's like to me, it's like the beach, the sand, the sea, anything that's like rough. I'm up for it. And I think even in school, I was quite athletic. I play netball, I play badminton. I do sprints and all kinds of shit. Right, I swim. So the only issue is that I was a fat kid. Like I
Okay.
was like really fat. I was fat, but I was fast.
Oh damn, didn't knew
So
that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it was kind of funny because like when I was in poly, I actually started to look at all the girls who wear like very nice clothes to school, and I was like, holy shit, they look great. And then here I am, it's like I look like a snowman.
Oh
Yeah, I
man.
think it was quite bad. So I actually started to want to try and lose weight. I mean, there was no such thing as YouTube or anything, right? So the only thing was like, okay, I should just eat less.
Mm.
So I was eating very little. I would almost say like it's kind of like a semi eating disorder, but I wouldn't know, right? Because in my head it's like, oh, I just want to drop the weight. So I just
Yeah.
eat like one apple for breakfast, one muesli bar, and that kind of thing. So it started like a habit, and then I would go to the gym because I used to have friends in poly, and then there was this guy who's like an amateur bodybuilder, so he would teach me how to lift and stuff. Not because I wanted to get skinny or what, because I just like to be, like I'm a tomboy in school, right? So it's like, yeah, I want to do what the boys want to do. So from then I was like, I kind of fell in love with weight training. And then of course midway, in the mid adulthood, transitioning from teen to adulthood, I kind of picked up Muay Thai. I kind of enjoy like the whole combat and physical contact kind of sport. And of course, I did my fights in Thailand, got abused, got beaten up, won some, lose some. But then, of course, tragically, I had a back surgery because of the Muay Thai sport itself. And then, of course, after I bounced up from my back surgery days, it's like it took me a year before I could do anything again. So from there, I actually started to learn how to powerlift. And of course, I started off doing powerlifting competitions. And that's also probably how I met Ray at the gym. Because, I was doing powerlifting and then
Oh,
he was
okay.
also doing powerlifting. Yeah. And then I think we just took interest in like the human body. Like we started, researching and like looking at people
Mm.
like Arnold and like Dana Lynn Bailey. Back then it was like my idol
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah, I'm not sure if people still know who she is, but back then it was like she's a big thing, right? So
Yeah.
Correct,
yeah,
correct.
she used to be my role model. So I think from then on, it was when I decided like, maybe I prefer bodybuilding because it's more challenging.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you mentioned you got a back surgery from Muay Thai and you went to powerlifting. Did that back surgery have any effect on your lifts or
Um, because before my back surgery, I wasn't into heavy lifting. I was just like lifting like like a 3 kg, 5 kg. But then it was also like after my back surgery, then I realized that, oh crap, actually I need to be stronger. Because the first thing my back surgeon said to me is like, ah, girl, you're very weak.
Oh no.
Yeah, even though I was fit, like people know me as a very fit person, but I just wasn't strong.
Hmm.
So I guess, in my head, like I've always wanted to be the strong girl in school. So I guess I just really wanted to get strong. So I did powerlifting.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you are a very good image to represent females out there because a lot of females they just tend to like what you did, starve yourself, apple in the
Yeah.
morning.
Kind of
Yeah,
regretted that
yeah,
actually.
I think it's also like a lot of
But I
how.
mean, because lack of information and education, you see.
Yeah, correct, correct.
Yeah. Whereas now there's YouTube, there's so many free things
yeah.
that you can download.
I think it goes back to like where we started.
Yeah.
You know, there isn't like like people will tell you like, okay, get into a caloric
Mhm.
deficit. Then you're like, okay, what is a caloric deficit? Like no one had a clue.
Yeah.
So like diet would be like that was where like the old school diet where you would cut your salt out, you would go chicken breast and broccoli, and white rice was a bad thing. Don't eat potatoes.
I didn't even think of
Yeah,
eating chicken breast. It was like eating less.
yeah. So basically, the where I started was like I was looking at like what Sean Ray did. So Sean Ray was one of my idols, Flex Lewis. So these guys were the people that I really looked up to. And then they had like pineapple. But back then you wouldn't know like, oh, um, my triglycerides were not ready for this kind of diet. Like I wasn't suitable for that kind of diet because nobody knew that each individual will have their own genetic pool and where that goes, and your diet doesn't this diet does not suit me, but yet I thought that would work, so I tried it. So lucky enough, I got away with it because maybe I was a little bit younger, metabolism was a little bit better, but then after that it all went sideways, and then we started figuring stuff out.
So do you guys
Yeah,
figure
I
it out
mean the
like together?
journey was tough.
You guys like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
talk to each
So
other and figure it out together, or did you guys like I don't know, maybe work on yourself and your coach, or did you guys like give each other feedback?
We
we
didn't actually hire a coach
yeah
until like 2017.
28
Oh, okay,
yes
okay, okay.
2017.
2017, yes.
Yeah. We kind of like
Figured our
yeah,
way out,
we
kind of
meet, we
figured.
ask people, we kind of like watch YouTube,
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
YouTube came about like later on in the bodybuilding scene. So yeah, but we realized that free information is not necessarily good information.
Yeah.
That's
So
very
I
true,
think
yeah.
the only person that actually worked this was Pak Halim.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Halim Harun. He's one of our he's one of the Southeast Asian champions. He's done a lot of competitions. He's done at least I think 20-25 competitions or more maybe. Yeah. So I got to meet him through a couple of the
Mhm.
local bodybuilders like Shabil, Abang Gani. So they introduced me to him. So he was the very first person I actually prepped with.
Oh, okay, okay. And that was for which prep? If you don't mind me asking.
That was on my 2015 WBPF.
Oh, this
I got second on
5
the
years ago.
under.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got second on the under 75, I think.
Nice. Okay, so let me move on to the next question. So, within you two, is it like what's the dynamics like? Does Ray compete first, then Jia, or do you compete at the same time, or how does it work? So who's the
For the powerlifting comps, we actually did it together.
Yeah, I mean we try to compete together
Yeah.
because it's more fun, it's easier.
Yeah, and then I think the very first bodybuilding comp, we also did it together. So our shows were 1 week apart. So Chia
Yeah.
did her first Muscle Mania show, and I was doing the nationals under Kevin Chap
hmm.
for 2014.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it was just 1 week apart.
Yeah.
Were there
Even
any?
for the 2018 when I got my pro card, we
Yeah.
kind of competed in the same show too, in the
Oh.
Singapore regionals. Yeah. Only last year for the Toronto Pro Show, I went alone. Ray didn't go because he just came out from the hospital, so he
Yeah.
couldn't compete.
And what happened?
So I had a TIA. So it's like a basically
A
it's
mouse
not yeah
stroke.
it's like a mild stroke, but it's not exactly a stroke. So according to the doctors, the term for it is that there was a little bit of a blockage in one of my blood vessels on my right eye. So I actually lost vision completely on my right eye.
Oh.
Yeah. So I completely lost vision. We were about 4 weeks
I
out.
think 4 weeks out.
Yeah.
Which is the worst
So
time
were
to
you
go
prepping
into
for it
the
as well?
hospital.
Yes, I was ready for it.
But he kind of pulled
Oh.
out at 6 weeks out because he
Yeah,
felt like his body was
I
off.
I felt very weird at 6 weeks out, so I was telling my coach about it. So so on top of that, Jan and I were having the same coach. So I kind of told her that. I said like the prep was going fine, but I just didn't feel right. Like
And
it was one of those instincts that your body is trying to send you a message, and it was one of those like when people actually say listen to your body,
Mhm.
they actually mean listen to your body, because like you actually feel that something off is happening, but you just cannot pinpoint what it is. So with that, then you can decide
Yeah.
and make a conscious decision whether you should pull out of a competition or not.
I think there
Yeah,
comes a point of time where we are experienced enough to know that when we should pull out. Maybe some people at the start
yeah, because
they want
Yeah.
to pull
yeah,
out because they are a bit like tired only. Yeah, but I think
yeah. So that I think there's a very big difference between like being tired, being fatigued, and because your body is naturally under stress when you're on prep anyway, but understanding that your body is actually breaking apart. So it's just one very fine
Yeah,
line.
like I remember he was doing a lot of cardio, and also because 6 weeks out, I mean, theoretically we were already stage ready, but he was kind of looking like a little bit washed out, a little bit watery. So it's kind of like it's a bit strange because his weight didn't drop. I mean, for a
Mhm.
healthy person, your weight should be dropping as long as you're in a deficit and you're doing the right things.
Yeah,
So I mean, based on all the factors that he has been nailing and prep has been smooth until that point, so it was definitely like his body was off. So we decided that he should pull out.
yeah, and that was
in
the
fact
decision.
Yeah,
I think that decision might have saved your life considering it was like a mild stroke, right?
yeah, of
Yes,
course.
that definitely changed everything.
So do you guys face any troubles with each other during that prep that you prep together, if you don't mind me asking?
I guess the natural part will be every person going through prep needs to understand that there will be times where a good day is a good day, but a bad day is going to just really get you down. And on bad days, like if you're low on carbs or your calories are very low, you
Mhm.
you you definitely have those bad days. And on those bad days, yes, we do argue, we do quarrel. I start most of it, so yeah.
I'm
But
a silent person. Like
but the
if I'm not feeling good, I just keep quiet.
yeah, but the thing is that like people need to know that this is actually a very real thing, that you do get bad days, but it's not about thinking that, oh shit, it's a bad day. It's about making that the best out of the bad day, because like it's just gonna impact your conditioning. It's just gonna impact how you look on stage, how you feel, whether you're confident in your posing routine. It all adds
Yeah.
up.
I mean,
It
after
just
all, we are the ones who chose to want to compete.
hmm
So I mean, we just have to suck it up. It's like it's our choice. We should enjoy it, not hate
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like
Very true.
basically like we always looked up to one of the more recent pros. Like I always looked up because I've had a few conversations with guys like Regan Grimes. So he's always told me that it's not really anybody's choice. It's your choice that you chose to compete.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are any setbacks that comes with it, you have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking about, you mentioned Regan Grimes. I know he's one of your idols, correct? I know you're a big fan of
Yeah.
Regan
Oh, yeah,
Grimes,
yeah.
correct, Ray? So
Yes.
talking about idols and stuff, maybe Tia, you being an IVE pro, in fact,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any idols as well? Even though
Oh,
you are
I
a
have a
professional?
lot of idols. I mean, I'm not really like someone who like, oh, I like this, I like that, I like her, I only have a very few idols. Like, for me, of course, Danalyn Bailey is my first and my favorite, competitor on stage. And second will be Jessica Reyes. I also kind of like Sydney because I think she's very down to earth. And yeah, I mean, it's not so much of how to say. I mean, all the girls look good, but I kind of like girls with a little bit more character, like
More
like
charisma, more
uh,
personality?
yes, correct.
Yeah,
Like doesn't mean that oh her body's good, then I idolize the person. It's
Yeah.
very
yeah, I
specific.
understand.
Yeah, there are many non-pros who I also idolize, so it's not just pros that I idolize. Yeah.
Okay, how about Ray? Apart from Regan?
Regan
He has
Grimes,
many.
Breon Ansley, Sean Ray, Flex Lewis, Ronnie Coleman. Man, the list just goes on.
I think for
But
these guys, yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
classic physique, I would say Breon, Chris Bumstead, upcoming guys like Logan Franklin, yeah, a couple, even some of the physique guys like Brendan Hendrickson. It's like guys like this are very, very, very hardworking people. And then like when you go back to like bodybuilding, right, real big bodybuilders, I've been the biggest fan of Phil Heath,
Mhm.
Kai Green, yeah, Sean Ray, basically everyone, Dexter Jackson, Arnold, Frank Colombo, even like who's that guy called? Paul Dillette, guys like Paul Dillette, way back.
Very, very old school, yeah.
Yeah, very, very old school, back in like 1960s, I think.
Yeah, I think
19,
around there.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah, that,
And
that, that region.
so
So guys like that. So,
you're a fan of more older school physics in a sense? Because you prefer to compete classic as
um,
well.
I would say older school physics in the sense whereby the work ethic.
Mm.
So they do not revolve around just it's all about hardcore training and it's all about diet, but they are very specific. Like guys like all these guys like Paul Dillette, Dorian Yates, all these old school bodybuilders, you name it. They go in, day out, they're doing the same thing.
Mhm.
They don't change their routine, they don't do fancy stuff. They don't have one back program for this week and one back program for the next week. They're always doing the same stuff.
There's no social media
Yeah.
back then,
And
so
Yeah,
they,
was,
they can't
it's
show
much
it
more
off.
simpler.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
more for themselves, I feel.
exactly, very
Yeah.
simple. And then like they would have the old, like everybody would use the same Smith machine, that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's the kind of stuff that I looked up to very much.
I think it's about the same for me. Yeah, I think the old school stuff definitely is more of the way to go compared to the new school stuff. I think
Yeah,
they weren't so focused on supplementation as well. Nowadays people are
Correct.
just looking
yeah,
at supplements, what can help me more, make my life
Mhm.
easier. Yeah.
yeah.
I think partly because nowadays there's a lot more sponsorships and supplement brands, whereas
Mm-hmm.
back then it was like EAS
Yeah, you had
I
and it
like,
was
never heard of
Cytosport.
EAS.
Very basic.
yeah, Cytosport, EAS.
Yeah, it's like
Are they
there's
still
only
around?
a couple.
I don't think
EAS should be still.
EAS, yes. And
It
then
was
they
one of
had
the first few brands in a GNC.
they even had like brands like Champion Nutrition
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
like very
Never heard.
little, and they all taste like shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
So basically it was back to the very like three flavors like
Yeah.
chocolate, strawberry, vanilla. There was nothing more, nothing
Yeah.
less. Now we got like chocolate chip cookie
It's the
dough.
kind where you put in a bottle and you shake and it comes out. It's like stuck everywhere.
Yeah.
ugh.
You know that clump of
Yeah,
protein
yeah,
powder
correct.
that you kind of like
Yeah.
bite into. Yeah.
There's no such thing as isolate.
Yeah.
Protein was protein.
Okay.
I mean, last time there's a few people who like to ask me like, "Oh, what is it like to be a pro?" And then your husband is like not a pro. I mean, honestly, I really don't care.
I think bodybuilding, that's
mean,
bodybuilding lah. There's no
I
like
would say that. Yeah, I would say that.
I mean, my
I
life
find-
hasn't changed.
Yeah, I find that people really genuinely mistake the ideals of getting a pro card. So like getting a pro card is not just about okay, yes, you get your pro card, you are recognized, you are a pro, but the idea behind it is that getting the pro card is just the first step of it. That is
Mhm.
actually not the hardest part of it. The hardest part of this journey is what happens after you get the pro card. Maintaining the pro card, maintaining your status
Mhm.
as a pro, and then when the next time you step on a competition, like you are up against one of the best people in the world, some of the best people in the world actually. And if you are in a local setting, so you might have a competition of, let's say, for classic physique, you and I, we both compete in classic physique. We don't have more than 10 people, but
Correct.
for this case, if you cross the border and you go to KL and go to like what one of the what's that Cytec Nutrition Man of Steel,
Yeah,
Man of
yeah,
Steel.
you go to Man of Steel, and then your lineup will be your category might have at least 30 people in that category.
I had 30 people in my division on my pro stage, and I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
So the thing that I feel that a lot of people do not understand is that to compete locally, it's actually not the hardest thing. But when you cross the border, that's where
The game
challenge
changer,
happens.
definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's really
Yeah.
a game changer. So I have been to Toronto, I have been to other places, and I've seen all these pros, the Koreans, the Americans, the guys from the UAE, all these people, they're just on a different level.
Actually, since you guys have traveled like all over the world to see bodybuilding and stuff, is there any cultural differences when it comes to bodybuilding in Singapore compared to maybe somewhere like Toronto?
I
Um,
think big difference.
very big difference.
Like
Very big difference.
I think not so much in like the country. I would say divisions. I
Divi-
mean, certain divisions they are more friendly. I wouldn't
Yeah.
say which ones are not friendly, but it was very clear to me like which division was a friendly one and which one wasn't a friendly one.
Also, it's like
Yep.
not regional cultural difference, but the different category division
Yes,
differences.
correct. I think
Yeah.
because when I went to Toronto, right, everybody was from different countries, different cities and stuff. So naturally, when you encounter people of a different country, you tend to be a little bit more friendly. Whereas in Singapore, I'm not sure, maybe it's the culture, but I feel like in Singapore it's a little bit more hostile.
I think
Like
I think
people see each other as like, like competition. Like I want to win you, I want to
Yeah.
beat you. Oh my god, you're my threat. I'm not going to talk to you. Whereas in other countries, because you're alone, you don't have anyone else.
Mhm.
I mean, the last thing you want to do is to like, start to be hostile to everyone, right?
yeah.
It's like, it's not fun. It's like you're alone there backstage. It's like, it's really miserable enough. So I think it's definitely more fun when you travel. Like you get to meet new people. And for me,
Mhm.
I get to meet my idols, my like Ivana, like people that I'll never meet in Singapore
Yeah.
because they will probably never come here.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I think that maybe the competitiveness is an enhancer, because Asians are generally very self-kept, we're very
Yeah, we're very closed.
yeah, very very closed off, so we don't like unlike the
Yeah.
Americans that say they go up to people and they just start conversations.
Yeah, correct. They smile at everyone. They
Correct.
just say hi. Whether or not they like you, they still
Uh,
say hi.
Really, it's just a
It's
cultural
just like if they
difference.
don't like you, they just don't even look at you.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So I think it's just culture in just being in a different place at a different time.
And
You get
the
to.
competitiveness just doesn't help the hostileness
Yeah,
per se. Yeah.
correct.
I wouldn't say that the competitiveness of the
Mhm.
sport doesn't help. It's actually more of like being a sportsman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
so well, when you cross the borders and you see all these guys. So I've competed in the Battle of the Freaks. So that was in 2015. So when we cross the borders and we meet so many of these champions, so year after year. So I met Mr. Sazali from Malaysia. I've met Zainal Arif, all these guys, under 80 bodybuilding champion. That guy had like 29-inch, 30-inch quads on stage. And he had like 18-inch arms and he was under 80 kgs. So instead of being proud, these guys are actually trying to show and share and help. So they're teaching you like they will judge your physique. Yes, they judge you, but it's a matter of constructive
Mhm.
criticism. So if you are able to adapt and accept that kind of criticism, that's where you can actually change. Because like a regular guy, how many under 80 kilo guys do you see have that kind of physique? Shredded good. So when they reach down, they touch their toes, they're stretching their hamstrings. You can see every serration in the glute, and that is bodybuilding for
Wow.
them.
I've
Yeah,
never.
and these guys are not even pros. They are not even pros. So
And
it's that's how different I feel
Mhm.
the standards are in this scene.
wow, I just absorbed a lot because
Yeah,
personally being maybe younger in this industry,
I
whatever you're
mean, I
saying now
guess
is
because
so new to me.
even prior to this, we've had a couple of conversations. So that's exactly it's very hard to explain and very hard to comprehend for someone on your end because like
Mhm.
it's always easier once you see it, then you go like that
Yeah,
kind of
correct.
like
Yeah.
reaction to it. Then you'll be like, okay, this is the level.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay, I got one question for you guys. So I think you guys indirectly answered it already, but just to specify it, there's one question that came in. Uh, who cooks the meals? The guy or the girl? Mr. or Mrs.? Or you guys cook? I think you guys
Um.
cook both
I'm the
together, right?
vegetable person.
Yeah. So
Vegetable
I deal
person.
with mostly the carbs and the proteins, but when I mean that there is actually no who does.
Yeah.
So it's more of like if let's say we are pressed for time, so we are prepping our meals and we have a 7 a.m. client the next day. So I would cook everything. I would just prepare all the dishes, all the
Yeah.
meats, all the carbs, and then she'll prepare the vegetables. So some days I'll weigh it out. some days
Usually I'll weigh it because when
Yeah.
he weighs it, he just dumps all the food into the container, and I
Yeah.
cannot. I need my food like like in
She has
Oh, in
sections.
sections.
Yes, I'm like an
Yeah.
OCD person, so it's like I will weigh it,
Okay,
but he
okay.
will do the washing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we are pressed for time, we know that who's good at what. So she will do that, and then I'll do the dishes. So we clean up. So by then we can get ready. And especially if you're on prep. So I really emphasize that if you're on prep, if you have someone there to help you, please appreciate it.
I
Yeah.
think that's very true. Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Because when it boils down to like 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, that's when shit gets very real.
mental game from there on out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very mental.
Since you guys like have like raised certain carbs and protein and you're certain vegetables, is it because one of you guys cook that certain ingredient better and taste better? Is it? Or
Yeah, partly because like when I chop vegetables, they're a bit more even and neat. Whereas guys, they just do like
and y'all just chop? Yeah, I get you.
yeah, correct, and then it's like okay.
You guys have any
Yep.
tips for those out there on how to make your prep food taste better?
I think a lot of people they mistake prep for like limiting salt or just having plain boiled chicken breast and vegetables. I mean, for our prep, we actually kept sauces in. We had mustard, we had sugar-free ketchup.
Yeah.
We try to use spices and natural flavorings like onions, garlic, and lots of herbs. So it tastes good. And I think the main part of prep is that you cannot get bored of eating the same thing because you're eating for a purpose. It's not like you want your food to be like, oh,
Mhm.
Tori Q or like
Yeah.
delicious, yummy monster curry rice. It's not gonna be like that. Everything you have to eat. Otherwise, if you don't prepare your food, you're gonna suffer from like decision fatigue, meaning that every day you have no idea what to eat,
Yeah.
which is why you start eating crap. You're like, oh, I don't know what to eat. You know what? This looks good. I'll just eat that. So I think getting used to a routine. I mean, for people who don't know what to do, what they can do is that every Monday and Tuesday they have chicken, every Wednesday, Thursday they have fish,
Yeah.
and then on the weekends they can have a little bit more beef. So it's kind of like you look forward to something every week.
Something
Like
new
for
like
us,
that.
we really like beef, yeah. So we keep the beef for the weekend. Like we have a
Yeah.
nice steak,
Oh, okay, okay. That's
yeah.
a good tip.
And
Yeah, I
because
might
we
try
can cook
myself.
it fresh.
Oh, you guys cook everything fresh.
No,
We kind of
he
like
doesn't like frozen food. I don't
Yeah.
mind frozen food.
so we
So
kind of
raise the Gordon Ramsay.
prep.
Yes,
Yeah, kind of. So we kind of prep and then we just do like 2 days,
yeah, 2 to 3
3 days
days.
worth of.
So are you guys like prep in bulk? Or you just mentioned you prep in bulk, right? For the 2-3 days, is it?
I'm a bulk prepper, so basically he will help me cook my meals, and I will freeze it all the way to like
Yeah.
Friday. And then on the days where I don't have to cook, I will help him make his food together with him
Yeah.
because he
Oh,
wants
okay.
fresh, and then I don't mind frozen.
So really,
Like for me, I feel that I prefer to be prepared for like emergency days where I come back and I'm like, oh, I feel so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for him, he prefers his food to be fresh. So
also Ray cooks everything in the morning and then consumes it throughout.
no,
No,
at
so
night.
I can cook it the night before and then I'll
Yeah,
keep it for the next day.
Oh, okay, okay.
because
So
we
yeah.
prefer to sleep and wake up.
So she's more like if you would ask me, she reminds me a lot of like this bodybuilder called Patrick Moore.
Yeah.
So Patrick Moore is one of the bodybuilders, one of the very prime upcoming bodybuilders that's come along. So all he does is he preps all his food. So he can prepare like 50 servings of chicken
Yeah.
and he will freeze it
I think
and then
because
he will just pull it out.
Patrick has a corporate job as well, right? He's not just all
Yeah.
about bodybuilding.
So yeah, it kind of like revolves around like what GR is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize that even as bodybuilders, whether you are pro or not at the Olympia level or not, sometimes we still have a corporate job. And even if a corporate
Yes,
job,
correct.
everything is still doable, correct?
In fact, our job is worse than a corporate job because we start really early at
Yeah.
like 6:30
6,
a.m.
yeah.
and then we finish work sometimes at like 8:30. So it's even worse than a corporate job.
Yeah. So if you have like a 14-hour day, so if there's anybody out there who
Yeah.
says like, oh, I got a 14-hour, I got a corporate job, it's hard, prep life is hard. I'll be like, yeah, try standing on your feet for 12 hours a day, come back home, prep your meals,
Yeah.
deal with 3 dogs, blah blah blah. Everybody's gonna have their own story.
Actually, talking about prep again, do you guys like find trouble maintaining composure doing your job when you guys on prep? Like,
Actually, not really. I mean, we're very lucky to be working flexible hours, meaning that
Yeah.
we don't have to be present in our gym. And we have really understanding clients, meaning that if we are tired, they'll be like, oh, you just sit down, it's fine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's nice.
I mean, it's definitely tiring because, we have to do our cardio and then in between our break, we have to rush to train. And then towards the end of the prep, it's like, oh shit, we're going to do another cardio. So it's really like, it's just more about organizing your time. And I mean, even if you have a corporate job, right, all you have to do is wake up earlier because if you start at 9, you just have to do your cardio at 7,
Yeah.
and then train during lunch. And then afterward, you do your second cardio.
In fact,
If you're studying, it's probably even easier.
yeah, correct. In fact, having that structure there helps us to eat
Yeah,
our meals
correct.
on time, right? I
Yeah,
realized
you
that,
just have to plan your day.
yeah, during the holidays you just lose track of time, and it's like, yeah, let's say you're playing games or like, talking to your friends or whatever, catching up, and just 5 hours
Correct.
fly by, and like, shit, I need to eat my meal.
Yeah.
Oh crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, personally
Yeah.
Oh,
experienced
I
that
mean, if
during the
you miss your
CV.
meal, you just eat 2 meals in one go, which is what we do
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
what has to go in has to go in.
True. Macros.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
you guys have any questions on your followers? Check again.
I don't think I have anything coming in.
Any frequently
Yeah.
asked questions that you guys received previously?
Shredded glute.
Yeah, I mean like um the main question is like people will be wondering like how do you get the conditioning and stuff like that. And I would say the real story behind it is that people will that there will be a lot of speculations. It could be down to what we are doing, how we are doing, but it actually really boils down to consistency. So for those who do not know, for Jia, when she got her pro card, she dieted for about 45 weeks straight. So basically, yes, if you are looking to get into the pro card, like so we've spoken to so many of these guys. So the local people, I've chatted with Ryan Hing about it. I've chatted with Abdullah Shah about it. All these people to get there to be a pro at your level, and even our good friend Regina. So to get to this stage, you have to be dieting for weeks and weeks and weeks. So prior to her 45-week diet, she was on another diet just to get ready for that 45-week diet. So if you guys are not ready to do that, then yeah.
So it's
So
not a 45 weeks diet. It's just more than 45 weeks diet for Jia.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
yeah. But for 45 weeks will be more of like comp prep. 45 weeks comp prep diet.
Yeah, meaning that like the cheat meals and everything is kind of structured.
Everything
You
is
don't just
very
eat
structured.
you don't just eat something just because you feel like eating it.
Yeah. So
It's more of a
I'm
refeed
sure
in
there
the case.
Yes,
Or
correct.
refeed.
Like you're given specific macros
Yeah.
for your refeed. Like you don't just like go out and eat a burger and then or ice cream or something. Yeah, it's kind of like proper food.
Yeah. So like the latest competitions that we did, it went up to like 10 weeks without a cheat meal. Yeah, I mean, you know the conversations. I've had these
Yeah.
conversations with you, so you know firsthand how we roll on this.
Yeah, I think also it's better to be prepared. Like for me, my coach makes sure like I'm actually show ready maybe about 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
So towards the end of the prep, like my previous show when Ray was sick, I actually had refeeds all the way. Like every week I had refeeds for the past maybe 8 to 7 weeks. So it actually felt really good. Like I didn't feel like I was struggling or anything. Of course, mentally I was struggling, but physically, I find that when you get your body ready earlier, you don't have to panic so much. And then, of course, we know that panicking causes stress. So, and stress doesn't help your body's conditioning.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I feel that it's always good to push harder while you can. Like in the beginning of prep, like when your cardio, when you're doing it right, in the beginning of prep, you have all the energy and all the time. I mean, just try to push hard. And then towards the end, when you're a little bit more worn out and you know that your body cannot take it anymore, you can slow down a little bit rather than to give it more cortisol and then, stress the body more. Yeah. So, I mean, that's my approach. I go hard in the beginning and then towards the end, like if I feel bad, I'll just take it easy, but I still go through the motion.
Okay, so before we end off, do you guys have any like advice to give those who want to start bodybuilding and become a professional, hopefully?
I think if from a pro perspective, like if they want to get a pro card, I would say don't compete for the purpose of getting a pro card.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be what you really like to do on a daily basis and that you really live the life. I know there are some people who really just want a pro card, but honestly, a pro card or not is really nothing. You know, it's
Mhm.
just you pay a membership of $250 USD and then you get to compete overseas and meet pros. But you can be equally good being just a normal competitor in
Yeah.
Singapore, but you know, you smash it, you look good every year, better and better every year. So I think your goal should always to be better than your previous year, not so much of like, oh, I need to get a pro card. Yeah, I mean the process will happen eventually if you continue doing this for a long time. Yeah.
All right, nice. Actually, the last question was just for myself because I'm not pro yet. Okay, wrapping up. Thank you so much for your time on this podcast.
Okay, no
And
problem.
Thanks.
all right, see you guys.